What is up, YouTube? It is me, Zolon. We are back with another Star Citizen video. This time we're going to have a reaction as a new discovery. Well, I guess it's been around for some time. Just has been re-put into the game. Some are calling this weapon insurance, others calling this an exploit. But this time we're going to be watching Salty Mike and react according to what we hear about this new discovery or reintroduction. Anyway, let's get into it.
Be hilarious. So exploits that have been in the game before are back. You can dupe literally any item in the game. You could dupe commodities. You could dupe weapons. You could dupe ship weapons. There are endless dupes in this money. Probably there's endless dupes in this game right now. We have.
I haven't duped a whole lot of things, but since the new salvager repeater guns. So what they're called, I don't remember, but the pyro guns that were released for the save Stanton missions, I did dupe that back in 3.24. Again, it being alpha, nothing really matters, but I guess we can actually do a whole lot of things, which honestly I'm not too into because I just enjoy playing the game for the game as it is, and duping resources for what exactly? I don't understand the point of duping right now. And in most cases, I can see duping being an exploit. But I don't know. In my opinion, we'll see. We'll let them cook, see where it goes. But continue.
Redone the economy for basically no reason. A YouTuber that I respected has posted 3 YouTube videos sharing dupes on their YouTube channel in the last 24 hours.
Up here.
So now it's getting out more and more and more and more and more. You could be on 2 sides of the fence here, I think, and both would be correct. Is one would be you should not report dupes like out in the open too much, and you should put them on the issue council report. CIG will confirm them and then take them down and hide those dupes. You would be the correct person in that case, I think. The more correct person, at least. Then there is the option to share it with the world and be as loud as possible. It's an alpha. None of it matters right now, and CIG will fix it. Now, we've already had these exploits before. CIG did not permanently fix them. They're back. So,
again, there's a lot of history here that I'm not fully aware of. Especially since I only started Star Citizen about a year now. And so I guess, yeah, obviously games in alpha, there's a lot of bugs. It's not going to matter in the end. I'll care more once the game transitions to beta, which some people may already debate that there's mechanics in the game that are in beta, and I could see that argument, especially when it comes to like the flying mechanics. And now that we have 4.0 out, even the FPS is starting to feel really good.
Oh, we're going to read some threads of absolute hilarity of people who are coping so hard that they think that this exploit is a feature. It's amazing. I'm sorry that you're going to see people's names. Don't be mean to them. They're just ignorant, okay? But we're going to laugh at them a little bit here, and if they can't take it, I don't know what to tell you. This is weapon insurance, new bug or feature. At CIG, please confirm. Kind of a legitimate question to start out with, right? I've seen many videos circulating. It's literally one person, which involves loading weapons into a gun rack on board your ship. Oh, let's just share the whole thing. Cool. Before we face a possible sweeping community wipe or ban, I want to confirm, is this indeed a feature? Additionally, if this is intended, this is the best feature you've implemented in all of 2024. Here's the problem with this. These videos that are being posted are calling this item insurance.
Okay.
This is not item insurance. Okay? And the reason they consider it item insurance is if you put a weapon on a gun rack in your ship and do some finagling, I actually don't even know how it works. What I do know is,
so since he says he doesn't know exactly how it works, I don't really know either, but from the one other video I saw, basically You put it as a part to your ship, and if that part is removed from your ship and you go to repair it, you're going to have to pay for that weapon in your repair cost.
Is that you will pay for that weapon.
Okay, well, there
so
you go.
when you repair your ship or whatever, or claim it or something like that, they do add the extra payment onto the fee during the dupe.
Okay. I don't see the problem.
The problem with this is that you could do this with more than just FPS weapons that you can buy in the store. If it was only buying them in the store, that would not be that big of an issue.
I mean, that depends, right?
Because
I mean, even if I can't buy a weapon in the store, and it's not like these items they have like something that you're rolling for in like a typical MMO. You know, you're not rolling for stats, at least not that I'm aware of. And I mean, most of these items right now are fairly easy to find. So even if you can't find it in a store, I don't really see the big deal. I mean, if it's going to cost you a reasonable amount to get whatever item, and maybe that's the problem today, maybe it just doesn't cost enough. But like, I don't know, I just recently found a grenade launcher myself for the first time, and if they were going to make it cost, I don't know how much it should cost, 50,000, 100,000. I mean, money currently isn't even that hard to get right now. But I mean, is that really that big of a problem? I don't know. You guys can let me know what your thoughts are, but I don't see a problem with it right now.
Yeah, you're skipping the stupid running all over the place that CIG wants you to do. Okay, fine. You're paying the same price. It's whatever. What the issue is that you can find railguns in like bunkers and stuff. They're really rare, hard to find. But railguns or grenade launchers, things like that, are common at the end of the contested zone loop. There's like 5 of them there.
Okay. So what's the problem?
You can't buy these in shops, but if you put them on a gun rack and do whatever you do, you pay for that railgun, which is not the value of what a player would sell it to you for. And again, I'm biased here. It's something I like to do in the game, but I don't care about any of that.
Okay, so what's the problem?
Whatever happens in the alpha doesn't matter. You guys want to skip some grinding or playing the game or whatever, it's your loss. That's
and I will say that because it is alpha and with how buggy it is, you get server crashes, and what even sucks even more is when a shard crashes, right? You get kicked out of the game of whatever you were doing. You could lose everything in that process. So being able to, I guess, quote unquote dupe, he's very adamant about it being called duping, but the fact that you have to buy it again anyway, I mean, there is at least some friction there. Maybe the friction needs to be increased so you're just not spamming thousands of rocket launchers after you get one, but honestly, it doesn't sound like a big deal to me. And with how buggy the game is today, I think it should be okay that players are getting, tons and tons of these, because you might only have you get 100 of these guns and the game crashes 99 times, and out of the 100 chances you have to use the gun, and you finally get to use it one time. I remember back in the Siege of Orison when I very first started playing it, I don't even get to complete that event because of the amount of bugs that were going on during that event, and also with the amount of I guess they want to be called PvPers, but let's be real, they're really just griefing. I mean, unless there's, sorry to those that get excited to assassinate someone and be like, oh, I'm such a good PvPer, but I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm just more honorable and like to have, arena style combat where you and I both know that we're enemies rather than you just coming up and just shooting me in the back of the head. I don't see that being very fun in my opinion. If you guys do, sorry. Again, I just don't see the fun in that. I don't know. Maybe I just have a bigger head or something. But continuing.
It's your loss. You're losing what I would consider fun. Okay?
Okay.
But the because it's now it doesn't matter, right? Skip all the stupid stuff that CIG puts in that they're
Again, you wouldn't be. I mean, I guess unless someone gifted you one of these grenade launchers, which again I like to explore everything myself. You have to get one of these at least once somehow, right? Before you can even begin the duping process. It's not like you can dupe magical items. Unless you can, then I don't know. And that's already a problem. But that's a whole different problem, in my opinion, than what he's considering duping here.
they're eventually going to take out anyway because they're going to finally realize that it's stupid. Fine. But here's where I take issue with this. Contested zone keys. Items that aren't...
Okay, so being able to dupe items outside of gun... I mean, I guess unless you have to pay for it, I'll let them finish, but unless you have to pay for it, if you're just duping things out of thin air, if there's no friction to it, yes, I see that as a problem.
On the web store, or aren't on the store. Items that are on the store, but the web store. Things that, well, I don't really care about the web store. Dupe away. I'm like, right?
Yeah.
But you can dupe everything. So you are undermining complete gameplay loops that are in the game, not ones that I'm trying to do or anything. Complete. No, they can be copied. So, yeah, don't worry, they can be copied. And maybe that person doesn't know, but they can be copied. There's more than one dupe, and there's tons of exploits. So they can be copied, and it's not good.
That I can see. Well, it depends. Is there a friction to it?
This is not okay, right? So anybody who is calling this a feature is coping, right? It's
strong, but sure. Feature. I mean, it depends, right? Again, is there friction to it? If yes, I could see it being a feature, right? If you're, when you dupe the guns off your ship, because you just need to reclaim your ship, and there's not really any additional friction to just reclaiming your ship as is, that I can see as duping, which I don't want, right? That's an exploit. But when you go and you have to pay currency to get the item back, I can't see that as duping. I could see it as, hey, it's a new feature that needs to be balanced in the future. Sure, that I could see.
Just everything I'm seeing here, this has got to be a troll, but it's getting upvotes and things like that. Not many, but yeah, that's one. Okay. Next one, weapon insurance. Fantastic solution. I saw that the devs had reintroduced the old weapon duplication exploit, but made it chargeable. Genius. I hated that I never used my weapon racks and left ship interiors bare, but the thought of having to restock everything if I got destroyed justified leaving them empty. Now I know there's going to be an extra cost, but I know I could spend more time playing and less time stock taking. And
I agree with this guy. I mean, in my opinion, again, because there's a friction, there's a cost to it. It's not just free. And maybe, when you claim your ship, maybe it would be nice to also have a loadout that you can pay for your ship when you go to stock it or restock or whatever. I think that would be ideal. Maybe it doesn't show up when you claim it, but being able to say, hey, this is what I want in my ship when I get to my hangar, I think that's a great idea and should be included. But obviously Mike here doesn't agree, but I agree to disagree, right?
And you know what? He's proving a point.
Okay.
That the issue isn't the issue is that you're getting items that you shouldn't be allowed to restock, right? But
I mean, who's to say what items you're not allowed to restock? I mean, really, all CIG has that. I mean, we as a community can discuss which ones should be recyclable and which ones shouldn't. But, I mean, it's a gun. You can get a gun anywhere. Eventually, they're going to be tradable anyway, it sounds like, right? So, there just needs to be some cost. Maybe, again, it's a balancing issue maybe right now, but I don't see why this shouldn't be a feature.
What this OP is saying is nobody stocks their ship because if it blows up, it's gone.
Right.
But the issue isn't that if it blows up, it's gone. The issue is that it is entirely too much of a pain in the ass to stock your ship with these things.
That's a better way of putting it.
If CIG took the friction away of doing that, would the OP feel the way that he does? If it was a very simple menu, a very easy thing to interact with, it probably wouldn't be as big of an issue for this person.
Which we all know CIG does not do a very good job with menus. At least currently, they've gotten better as far as I've heard and seen. But they it just seems like they deal with a lot of engineers and not a whole lot with UX designers. But that's my opinion.
And they would always stock their ship, right?
Yep.
That's the other thing. Now let's read what other people are saying. Agreed, I can now finally stock my ships and not just keep everything in boxes at space stations. Hopefully it was intended and not a bug. Again, it is 100% a bug. It is 100% an exploit for the reasons I stated above. You are not only restocking ships or items that you were able to restock, you are restocking items that you should not be able to restock.
Again, according to who is my question there. I mean, just because it's not purchasable in a store does not mean it shouldn't be restockable. That would be like saying you shouldn't be able to claim your ship at certain spaceports because you can't buy the ship there. So, yeah, just because the station that you park at doesn't have the weapon you want to restock, I don't know if that necessarily means that it shouldn't be restockable. I could see, some guns being like the rocket launcher not being restockable. I don't know how much I would care or not care. I would be fine with it being restockable as long as it had a high enough friction, so that way you're not, again, like if I'm able to spam lots of these guns out, I can see it being a problem. Just like people today being able to insurance fraud their starships, right? Like, I think we could already say there's exploits there, when in reality I think this is more of a balancing issue. Even if he wants to call us an exploit today, I think this exploit could become a really good feature for the game. Maybe it just needs some balancing. Maybe, again, like if we don't want the railguns being restockable, great. You just don't have that an option as a loadout that you can put on your ship. I see that as being an okay option. I don't see the problem.
That's the problem, right? But again, it should be like this system should exist if the station supplies those goods.
Again, I disagree there.
If they're in your own inventory, then I'm all for this.
Better.
Does anyone have an issue with that? If you are let's be real here.
But even if I don't have it in my inventory, I think my ship having that loadout set and the space station being able to purchase it from wherever, because again, you're getting your ship when you claim it, it's coming from somewhere. It's not like these space stations just have every ship in stock. It has to be brought in from somewhere. So I see it kind of the same way. The station may not have the gun. It's got to be brought in. So I don't think it should be reliant on what guns the space station has.
If you are pressing a button claiming your ship and your ship just magically appears in the station, which we're all used to having happen, would anybody have an issue if it also restocked your ship with items that are purchasable at said station or in your inventory at said station?
Yeah, see this, again, I would agree with this, with the caveat being that it shouldn't matter what station. I think you're limiting yourself too much, because we might as well just go one step further and limit what ships can be redeemed at what station.
I don't think anybody would have an issue with creating a loadout for your ship and your ship coming back with those things if those things are available, right? So, weapon insurance, fantastic solution. There are better ways of doing this.
You know what they could do instead is have certain stations have a lower cost for certain items. So if you restock your ship because it has XYZ weapon here and this station produces said item, then it's going to cost less than if you go somewhere else that doesn't have these items, and so the reclaim or the claim time is higher, or the restocking cost is higher. I think that makes more sense
than the way it currently works. And I agree with everybody that this is better than what we have, but the fact that you could dupe a railgun is insane. The fact that you could dupe maze and items like that is insane.
Sure, again, it's alpha. Does it really matter? Does any of this really matter? Come on.
It's not okay. You could dupe armor. Not okay, right? All of these things are a problem, and it's 100% an exploit. Now, before we go to the last thread, do you feel in an alpha that people should be banned for these things? I don't know.
No.
Right? Do you think that the creator that I mentioned should be kicked out of any Star Citizen program, so the CIG community should never talk to him again? He's the worst person ever. No, I don't think so.
No. Yeah, again, because it's an alpha, the game's already buggy enough as it is. It's more giving, a reason for devs to maybe fix some things. I do think the devs has had a lot of higher priorities, such as server meshing, which we just got, which I think was huge. I honestly think I came to Star Citizen at the best time that I could have, except for the fact that the CCU chaining bonuses I've gotten probably haven't been near as good as some of the veterans of Star Citizen have gotten. But as far as seeing the game start moving forward again, I think I came in at the right time.
I don't think so. I don't think any of this shit should be a thing, because it's highlighting, hopefully, to the developers that their game fucking sucks and it's really annoying to play. And the reason people are doing these things is because of the design choices that you made, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. Yes, the game sucks, but I mean, I get it. It's 10 years. It's been in alphas for so long, but they're doing so much more than any other game has ever existed. And if you think this sucks, then maybe you guys haven't played Tarkov, but that has a lot of its own issues that we have been complaining about for what I feel like has been the past 10 years as well. And they have done little to nothing to fix what your multiplayer experience. Cheaters are still rampant, and your ping sucks. Like you in Star Citizen, you can hop in, go to an Asian server, and you will have about the same ping as what you would have in Tarkov at your own local server, which is insane to me. So this game can accomplish that, but Tarkov can't, which is severely less complicated than this game.
And they're highlighting problems and showing them the solutions. So there's that. I don't think anybody should really get in trouble for this stuff. I think that's crazy. Do I think people should get a warning?
Yes.
For exploiting? Yes. Do I think obvious gold farmers and people who might be selling this stuff for real money should get banned?
Oh, sure.
And yes. Yes.
If you're paying real money for gold on this, credits, whatever, in this game, in alpha, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? It doesn't matter.
There's a little bit of a gray area here. The game doesn't exist. The game's not fun. And, people are trying to get around a lot of the bullshit that CIG makes you do. Is that really that big of a problem? No. But, again, calling it weapon insurance is insane. So, on to the next one.
I mean, insurance may not be the right term. I would call it a loadout that you can purchase again.
Item insurance. Hi, devs. At the moment, it seems that item insurance via ship weapon rack is back. Just wanted to know if this is on purpose or an exploit, which could get me in trouble. Personally, since you do pay to get the items back, this is the cope. Since you do pay to get the items back.
How's that a cope?
You can pay for a railgun. And
man, you can buy an item from a store. That's an exploit.
You should not be able to buy those because they're not in stock at the station that you're getting them from.
Doesn't matter. Your ship isn't in stock at the station that you get it from.
The official way of getting pledge items comes into the game. I bought so many pledge items, and it's so frustrating not be able to use them because of the risk of losing them without any way of getting them back, especially if you lose them to bugs. Hope to hear from you. They won't. They won't be replying, most likely. But, again, it really comes down to people being afraid. A railgun's $25K if you buy it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Because guess what? A railgun is farming 15 bunkers and hoping to get lucky. A railgun is going to the end of the contested zones and battling PvEVP situations.
So it sounds like, if he's saying you're getting a railgun 1 out of 15 bunkers, And I don't even remember what a bunker pays you, but it sounds like then you should just increase the cost of a railgun to be whatever the reward is for doing a bunker mission times 15. But does that sound justifiable?
That's what a railgun is. Like the idea that people will do anything to not play the game is crazy to me. If we're talking about people who are just trying to put P4ARs on their gun rack, I don't got a problem with that. Tractor beams, right? Things like that. I don't got a problem with that. But because you can go further than this and spend $25K on a railgun instead of playing the game, that's where I start to have problems, right?
I think your problem's actually more of a balancing issue, and I think that's where a lot of this comes in. I think people are too concerned about balance right now when the game's still trying to get its fundamentals together. Again, with it being an alpha, it's not like it's in beta. If we were in beta, I'd be a lot more concerned about balancing issues. But this is not beta. We have a long way to go until then. So I don't know. If it's not supposed to be a feature, that would be sad. I'm going to bring up Guns the Duel, which is a game back from the early 2000s that had a quote-unquote exploit that actually became a huge feature for the game that won over a lot of people that everyone thought was great. Now, the developers of the game did not like that feature or exploit, and when they made Guns 2, they removed it, which killed their game. Like no one plays Guns 2. But for Guns the Duel, the original one, that exploit's what made the game as popular as it was. Now, this was still early internet, and gaming popularity wasn't nearly as high as it is today, but I'm just pointing out that sometimes exploits are more good than they can be bad. And then I think in this case, especially since it already has the friction of cost to the weapons, I think it's fine. Now, whether or not railguns need to be part of that loadout system or whatever, that's up in the air for me. I don't really care one way or the other. And I think that's where Mike is at as well. He's just saying it poorly, I think. Maybe that's a little harsh for me to say. But yeah, I think this is fine. I think being able to set a loadout for your ship and reclaim it and whatever and have all that ready to go when you jump in your ship so you're not spending an extra 10, 15 minutes redecking out your ship. I think that makes sense to me. I mean, one thing it's kind of annoying for me is I like to do bunker runs in my Pisces, and just on the off chance because of crazy alpha bugs that happen, you got people that kind of jump around like they have blink and you can't take them out and they take you down, so you have to respawn. It's nice to have an extra set of armor inside my Pisces. The thing that sucks is, unless I can do it now, I don't know, I haven't tried, and I'll have to go and see if I can, but I have to re-put everything into my crew storage or the other storage container, just so that way I have an extra loadout on the off chance that I die. It's not a common thing that happens, but when it does happen, it sucks, and I don't want to have to go all the way back to a starport just to come back to have a new set of armor. It kind of gets annoying. So I don't see a problem with this. To say you're coping, I think, is actually crazy, and maybe we need to open up our eyes a little bit more.
That's where I start to have problems. It's not. Again, I think the solution that I came up with is the best. The idea that this works in this way is not a bad thing, but the idea that it works in a way that allows you to get around playing the game is the problem, right? And it shouldn't be limited to store purchasable items. Oh. It shouldn't be limited. Again, the whole you're going to get your items back when you die thing is going to kill the game, I think, in a lot of ways.
Sure. You definitely be a little bit to. You need risk.
Of a loop to get through if those items are not available freely, right? So if I lose a subscriber item, they did say we would be able to craft it. I kind of like the idea of that, and hopefully that subscriber item maybe requires something a little special to be able to craft that item, because it is a special item. So those might be harder to come by, might be a little bit expensive, but you'll stock up on them and you'll be able to always get back your, I don't know, the very bright yellow big puffy suit, let's say. That's one of my favorite suits.
So what if we talk about here for a second, since you brought up crafting? So what happens when you can craft a railgun? Is it suddenly going to be a problem now that we can craft a railgun? And so maybe, instead of being able to purchase the gun back, maybe you were able to purchase, you buy back the craftable item. I don't know. There's so many different ways you can handle this type of thing, but to say it's crazy that you can have a loadout part of your ship that you pay for, that just seems a little crazy to me.
I think it's called Sunburst. I'm okay with having to spend a little time or spend a little money in game getting, I don't know, maybe Janelite is required to make that or something, right? And then go for that. There has to be some level of risk, but losing it forever is what people don't want, right? And that's the problem that we currently have. You have to listen to the underlying issues that people have with the game. It is not black and white, right? So it is not, I am exploiting, I'm just trying to skip the game altogether. It is, I am saying that there are these obvious design choices that CIG are making that aren't fun, and I'm able to get around those choices by doing these things. So if I'm able to dupe my Sunburst armor and have 15 of them, I will use my Sunburst armor all the time, right? Because I'm able to get them. But what is really happening there is the player saying, I purchased Sunburst armor on the website. Give me the ability to get more of them.
Right.
But they're not necessarily saying, I spent money on the website, give it to me for free and give it to me instantly, right? And that's sort of the thing that we're hearing from here. Like, people are happy to having to pay for those things. But I think people would be happy if they only got things back that are able to be purchased at that station at the location that you're at. Or, once again, in your inventory. So then you could play the game, stock up on those things at your home location. Let's use Checkmate and Ruin, for example. Say your home is at Ruin, but there are, I don't know, Sunburst armors at Checkmate. Well, then I'll go buy 15 Sunburst armors at Checkmate. I'll bring them to Ruin, and then my ship in my armor locker will always have Sunburst in it until I run out of those 15, and then I'll have to do it again, right? So it's friction, but it is a lower value of the sandpaper that CIG is rubbing on us right now, right? Because it's
yeah. So he is okay with the whole idea of there being some friction to get a loadout for his ship. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the it has to be at said location. I think it would be better just to, once you have it and you put it on your ship, right? Same way with, again, bring your ship's loadout with just the guns in general. If you have to make sure you have those weapons in your storage so you can reapply it to your gun, it's a little bit too much for my taste. But to say, that's again where I'm saying, like, maybe if it's over here because of the distance to get that weapon to this station will enhance the claim time of your ship, because of, we have to pull in pieces to make it happen. I think that makes a whole lot more sense than just saying you can't do it.
Incredibly frictionful, the game, and that's all. I'd love to see that change just a little bit. And again, I am not arguing that this is a bad thing. I'm arguing, from a design standpoint, it's actually quite nice. But there's some tweaks that could be made here, that this would be a useful system that people would love, and that it would just generally make the game better. Mm-hmm. Lower values of sandpaper means more friction. All right, smarty pants. I think you know what the point that I'm trying to make, right? Which is why you said that. But the idea here is, let's make the game more fun, and the current experience is not fun for the reasons that people are stating. Now, again, item insurance. You're literally duping in an MMO. If this was a live game, you would be banned.
Again, I can't call it duping because you're having to pay for the item. And it just sounds like you're mad that people are being able to buy railguns right now for a cheap price, which I could say, yeah, that just sounds imbalanced, but it is. I can't really. Again, I guess maybe maybe he's fighting a lot of people with railguns right now, and that's why he's upset. But um, I haven't really done a whole lot of PvP in this game, and haven't been shot down by a ton of railguns, and so my gameplay has not been affected by the people who are duping, and maybe it will be in the future. But again, we're not in the balancing stages of Star Citizen right now, although they did balance the Corsair for some reason in some other ships where they gotta sell ships, right? So for for the balancing things that they do today, I don't understand why they do it, other than I'm sure it's for monetary gain. But because yeah, there's a lot of things that need to balance. If you want to talk about something that needs to get balanced, we can talk about the Avenger Titan and all the alien ships. But um, yeah,
You should be banned. Okay? But it is an alpha, and I think this should be out there, and everyone should see it, and because
you bought a gun, you should be banned.
Last question before we end the video. Because this is happening, should there be a wipe?
Sure. I don't care.
I don't believe so. But the reason I don't believe, I'm always for a wipe. I'm always for a wipe. But I know that many people are not doing this, and they're playing the game. So they have wiped specific players in the past, but not enough specific players. We'll see what happens. But in my opinion, 4.0 is so far from the game.
Right. That's my point.
That I don't really care. I do feel that...
Well, you sound like you care a little bit too much.
Within the next 6 months to a year, there absolutely needs to be a wipe again, because I feel like things will probably change pretty drastically. But do we need it right now? I think you're affecting too many players negatively for the few that are being total pieces of shit. So,
sure.
No, I don't believe so. But I'm always for a wipe because I do like starting fresh, and it just feels good and it's fun. In a game that isn't a game yet, it feels like a game always at the beginning because you have no money. You can't just go to the shop and buy anything. My favorite thing was seeing... I love to watch people mine on YouTube in Star Citizen, and my favorite part was their first mining run. They didn't have enough money to do the refinery job, so they had to sell their first load of ore as raw ore to get enough money to do a mining job. I found that...
I honestly haven't really done a whole lot of mining. Anytime I do mining, it's with a friend, and he takes the ore and refines it and whatever. I'm sure he's made quite a bit of money. I haven't helped him a whole lot, so I don't expect to see any of it, but interesting. It's good to know that if I try to do mining early, that probably not my best choice early on. Personally, I find like I don't have a I don't have a vulture, so I can't reclaim any or ships or whatever. But so until then, I usually just do cargo or bunker runs right now.
To be so cool. So the idea of just the feeling of progression, the feeling of gathering things and stuff like that was very cool at the beginning. But I think that it just would affect way too many people negatively to put us back in that situation so quickly. And yeah. Duping did not ruin the grind. You could still grind. You can earn $1 million every couple hours by doing bounties. Pyro really, who cares if someone has 1 billion credits before me? The reason why is you don't care. But a lot of people play MMOs, especially ones in the situation that we're in, where we kind of all started at the same time, is you don't like to watch, like, when other...
Okay, I'm going to say this because it is on my mind, and if we're going to talk about exploits, about not playing the game. If you're in a big enough org, right, and you invite everyone in your party and you just share missions, you are going to make money so much faster than someone who plays by themselves. And if you want to talk about an exploit, I think that's the biggest exploit. Having friends. Right? So if someone has to pay to get their gun back, that's a bigger exploit than just sitting around in your hangar while your friends do go and do missions for you. I don't know. I don't know.
Other people cheat, it ruins the value of the reward for the people who are playing, especially if we're going to be a more player-run economy, right?
Again, you can sit around in your hangar while your friends go and do missions for you, and you just get free money that way.
So right now it doesn't mean anything, but in the future it can have a huge effect on player motivation to play the game. It can have a huge effect on the economy and all these other things. So do not be selfish and only think of yourself in this situation. I'm not being, because I would totally go for a wipe and do the whole grind again if I was being selfish. But right now,
okay, you would want to do a wipe if he was being selfish. Honestly, I don't care either way, but that's also because I've played games where wipes happen, and I don't. It doesn't bother me. I think we will need at least one more wipe before 1.0 comes out. Probably sometime in either at the beginning of beta or early somewhere towards right before 1.0 is launched. But yeah, we don't. I don't care either way. Um, but I just think we will need at least one more wipe when the game is actually a game.
yeah, it doesn't matter, right? It really doesn't. And the most important thing is getting the game fun, playable, working well, and all these other things.
I think
But
we're all in agreement there.
I will also say this: as a YouTuber, you should probably not be making 30 videos on exploits and things like that. I know I'm making one now because it's already out there. And
yeah, well, let's be real. A lot of YouTubers do that, especially when they're big and they're just on the grind. That's their living, right? They're making money off of it, so they do whatever's going to get them clicks.
it's just really funny to laugh at people calling this item insurance. So keep coping, Star Citizen community. You are exploiting, and you are posting exploits publicly on forums in a game that's meant to be an MMO. And I think CIG really needs to teach people that this behavior probably isn't the way to do things and what they want their behavior to actually be, which would be use the issue council report. And yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we need to define exploiting properly, and same way I think we need to define griefing properly. I guess even earlier in my video when I said the Siege of Orison and those players who were assassinating I guess I'll say the allies, technically wasn't griefing. It just felt like griefing because I'm trying to experience a part of the game where the game's already too buggy, doesn't work, and my gaming experience is being impacted in a situation that I wasn't aware was going to happen, where people are just going to TK. Whereas, like, if I go to Pyro right now, and if I have some bush camper, some Timmy waiting for me when I arrive, well, the thing is, I know that Pyro is a PvP zone, just like if you play RuneScape or whatever and you go to the wilderness. Although I don't expect to always be having to fight someone, I know that it may happen. Whereas when I went to play Siege of Orison, that's mainly because that was my first experience with Star Citizen. I didn't know what was going to happen. And so it just felt like my gameplay experience was being impacted in a negative sense. Whereas, but still, yeah. So like this, I don't think we can define it as an exploit because there is friction. The only exploit I would see is, you're able to get your components back from your ship for free. There's no additional friction to changing components on your ship other than the fact that it has changed. And maybe, if you change your ship in such a way that it has a positive benefit, right? You buy cheaper components than what your ship comes stock with, and so your ship comes back faster. I think that would make sense. But yeah, I think what we're talking about here is a balancing issue and not necessarily an exploit. And if it is an exploit, then I think this exploit is actually going to be beneficial to the game, just like it was with Guns the Duel. And the developers should consider, how do we make this exploit part of the game instead?
Being harsh on other creators is wild. In what way? This I had no plans on talking to chat. I would love to hear what this is about. I'm also getting this is a bad take. So sharing exploits on the issue council and not making YouTube videos about them, showing everybody exactly how to exploit, is a bad take.
I think what he's saying here is fair. Like, honestly, if we wanted to be morally correct about this whole thing, I think that would be the right choice. But people are just trying to make their living out there and get their clicks, and sometimes that's just the way you got to go and do it, right? So it is what it is, in my opinion. I don't really care. It's if someone comes and tells you how to do something bad in the real world, it's really up to you to make that decision for yourself. And just because someone else told you that it's possible doesn't mean you need to go out and do it. So I don't know. They can tell you and show you how to do it, but I don't know. Books are out there for a reason.
What world are we living in?
A world where freedom of speech exists.
What world are we living in?
I guess in my
country.
country.
Where is this a bad take?
But yeah, I may not agree with their decision, but I do believe that we all have our right to, make the content that we want to make.
Right?
Unless it, infringes on someone else's right. So
sharing exploits on YouTube is insane. Anyone who does that needs to be banned. No. You just say, hey, dude, it's probably not a good idea. You shouldn't do that. If you find an exploit, you should share it with the devs. This
should do that.
Common practice in every video.
Or what they need to do is tell everyone, hey, this is how you do the exploit. They then also show you how to share this exploit to the devs. So that way the players can go out, do the exploit themselves. And maybe if enough players do the exploit with different ways of showing how they did it, the devs will be able to find the commonality between everything and fix it that way, right? Sometimes one data point isn't good enough to understand how to fix something, and you need multiple sources to figure out where the root cause of an issue is. So maybe that would be a better solution.
Video game ever. You share it with the devs. Once it is a known exploit, which it is now, anybody who continues to use that exploit gets banned from those games. That's always how it's been. Hello? Yeah.
Again, this is alpha, and everything that we as the player base do should be trying to help make the game better. I think too often the player base complains that the game isn't finished, and I mean, GTA 6 isn't out yet and has been in production for 10-11 years now, and has spent twice the amount of money Star Citizen has, and their game won't be nearly as ambitious as this game either. So so I think if exploits are discovered, we do need to share it with the council, and but I guess sharing it with the community also isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world. I think it would just be better on how they present the exploit, and maybe if they present it in a way that's like, hey, this is how you do it. If we come together as a community, figuring out how the exploit is done and then sharing it with the council, we can help their efforts and how to fix it. But again, being able to put an item on your ship and purchase it is not an exploit, in my opinion. Now, the amount that you may be paying for it might be too low, and that I can agree with.
I have no idea. I have no idea how we can argue anything else. That's where I'll leave it, though. Want to hear what you guys think. And, item insurance, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know if I would call it item insurance either. But to say that it's not... I don't know. I don't think this is necessarily a bad direction for the game. I think this is a really good quality of life and should be taken into account. I think it would be great. Just, I've already mentioned another game that's had a bug that actually made the game better. So sometimes the best discoveries are found by accident. But let me know what you guys think. If you liked the video, consider subscribing, leave a like, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.